Four divisions, four hosts, all battling it out for the Holy Grail of the American Hockey League, the Calder Cup. This is the Holy GrAHL podcast with Andrew Rinaldi, Deana Weinheimer, Jeremy Paul, Michael Liu, and Zack Power.
Bouncy, you gotta love it.
You're gonna make me edit this early into it.
No, we keep it. It's good content. It's
content. Okay, well, hi and hello. And welcome to episode 2 of Field Pass Hockey's AHL podcast, The Holy GrAHL. Obviously, we're a little bit giggly today, and hey, it's all good. It's, opening weekend's done. We're getting into the swing of things. It's all good. Anyway, here at the Holy GrAHL, we're all about the American Hockey League and the yearly race to their Holy GrAHL, the Calder Cup. But before we get too far into this, since this is only episode 2, we're going to reintroduce ourselves just until you all get used to hearing our lovely voices. And let's just make it easy and go in alphabetical order again. So I'm going to toss it to Andrew.
All right. For those who forgot from last week or this is your first time tuning in, I'm Andrew Rinaldi. I cover the Chicago Wolves and Grand Rapids Griffins. That kind of makes me the resident Central Division expert here for the Holy GrAHL, and we're just getting started here with my my second season with Field Pass Hockey, and I got my first actual opening weekend in the books, and it's all systems go now, so ready to rock and roll.
Well, I'm Deana Weinheimer. I am the AHL editor and one of the 2 Cleveland Monsters beat writers here at Field Pass Hockey, heading into my 3rd season. Again, same as Andrew, got an opening weekend in, 2 games. Talk about jumping in head first, but yeah, I'm just glad hockey's back.
Well, what's up, everyone? My name is Jeremy Paul. I'm here with my Holy GrAHL. Don't tell me it's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm still drinking coffee. I am the beat writer for Field Pass Hockey's coverage of the Rochester Americans. I'm here in my first year with the website, and they took it easy on me. I only had 1 game to catch this weekend, but boy, oh boy, a lot of penalty minutes that I can't wait to talk about a little bit later.
I know. I think you got something to talk about there. At least I'm Zack Power, and I've been covering the Toronto Marlies now for the 2nd season, going into number 3. I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland, so I've been following the Growlers for a bit, and then the Ice Caps before that. But here I am today, and look forward to being on.
All right. Well, normally we start the show. Well, we're going to be starting the show with, highlight of breaking news. But we got a little bit of lighthearted breaking news, mainly for my friends here in Ohio and in Michigan. But breaking news, there is a Grand Rapids, Ohio. Did anybody know that?
No, I'm a resident of this state every year that I've been alive, and I had no idea there's a Grand Rapids, Ohio until this weekend.
I pride myself on knowing as few facts about Ohio as I possibly can, so I definitely need to cover that one.
All I know about is Ohio. You don't want to visit Cleveland, so.
I happen to like Cleveland. Thank you very much.
We're not swinging on this one.
I mean, just go to Sweeties, okay? If you need something to do in Cleveland, go to Sweeties. And I highly recommend City Tap. It's right across from the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Their burgers are amazing. Just take it from me. Anyway, well, this lifelong Ohioan did not know that there was a Grand Rapids, Ohio, but leave it to a player from the Grand Rapids Griffins to enlighten us all. And Jonathan Berggren, basically by way of a navigational error, ended up in Grand Rapids, Ohio. Population, a staggering 1,002 people. Instead, when he was supposed to be going to Grand Rapids, Michigan, population just a little bit larger at 198,917 people. Basically, when he was asked about it, he said, I read about Grand Rapids and it's supposed to be pretty big, but this looks like a village. Where's the town? I could see why he was confused. So thank you for visiting us here in Ohio for just a short amount of time. We were happy to have you, but he finally got where he needed to go, and the rest, as they say, is history.
I gotta ask, how do you manage that? Like, you'd think when you Google it, it would be like the biggest town and work your way down. I guess like it's same thing with like Springfield. Like if you type in Springfield, like there's going to be like 1,000 results, but you think, oh, this is the first one, I'll go to that kind of thing, right?
I wonder where he was at whenever he typed that in, because now I looked this up earlier and I forget exactly where Grand Rapids, Ohio was. It was in the northwest portion of the state. Yeah, it's not too far southwest of Toledo. So if he maybe like landed in Detroit, maybe it's closer.
Like,
to look at there first.
DC, you're not going to be able to see that. There's no way. But it does come up as Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it's a guy who he spent his whole life over in Europe and in Sweden and everything. I don't know if it went to the closest one or whatever, but I had a chance to ask him about it after the opening game on Friday night, and he seemed to take it with as a good joke. He had a good sense of humor about it, and he was quick to mention he didn't spend a lot of time before he had to turn around and drive, quote, as fast as he could back to Michigan. So I don't think any of his buddies are going to be letting him navigate the GPS anytime soon on a road trip.
Nope. Well, the nice thing is every time they go on a road trip now, he can just kick back and relax because no one's going to trust him. He never has to have driving responsibilities ever again.
No doubt. But what I want to know is what I want to know is when Scott Housen and the rest of the AHL crew are going to start taking a look at expanding to Grand Rapids, Ohio. That's what I care to know. That's the village that deserves a team.
Absolutely, you got a natural rivalry with Grand Rapids, Michigan. You got the Battle of Grand Rapids.
It's all in the name.
Yeah,
aren't the Coyotes homeless now?
What's that?
Aren't the Coyotes homeless now?
Ooh.
I mean,
might have
we're just coming out swinging this episode. I love it.
Okay, so not only are they going to be relocated, they're going to be relegated.
It's close enough.
Have you watched the
start of the plays that way, anyways?
Oh man.
Yes, Jeremy, I was at the opening game. I saw that in Columbus. Ooh, oof. All right. Well, like you said, we're coming out swinging. But on a slightly more subdued note, we're going to go ahead and start talking about the week in review. We're going to have a lot more hot takes and stuff. But on the 15th, the Henderson Silver Knights actually announced that their head coach, Manny Vivarios, is taking a non-COVID medical leave of absence. Their assistant coach, Jamie Heward, is going to be assuming the head coaching role in his absence. Of course, I think I can speak for all of us here whenever we say that we hope everything's okay and he returns back in full health again very soon. That's such a blow this early in the season. But yeah, I hope their coach is going to be okay. And but moving on to slightly happier news, we can officially say welcome to the Abbotsford Canucks and I'm going to thank our friend Michael Liu for figuring out this math here. After 2,737, but who's counting, days since an Abbotsford team played a regular season AHL game, the Canucks actually faced off against the Bakersfield Condors. Unfortunately, they lost 5-3, but they bounced back the next night with a 3-2 shootout win against the Ontario Reign. And here's a bit of trivia for you all. If anyone ever asks you who is the player that secured the first win for them in their franchise, Phil DiGiuseppe. Shootout goal, gets the victory. Welcome to not only the league, but the win column, Abbotsford. But again, we're going to go from happy notes to a little bit sad notes, but there's some key injuries already starting to pile up. I'm going to go a little bit ahead here because I think this is the biggest one. Toronto Marlies, Nick Robertson. That is going to be a huge blow. He's actually suffered a non-displaced fracture of his right fibula against the Manitoba Moose on Sunday. Minimum 10 weeks out. That's a blow.
It is. And I mean, I think even on top of that, Josh Hosang plays his first game. I believe it was Saturday when Nick got injured. And it's, the chemistry that the two of them seemed to have clicking was something special. It's fun to watch. And just knowing that, this is a player in Hosang that's trying to reestablish himself in the league, is trying to claw his way out of the league, really, after some unsuccessful attempts to do so and a weird couple of years for him. And hoping that he's able to continue to reestablish his pace without Robertson. But obviously a really tough blow for that squad.
And I think it's something worth mentioning too, that the Marlies, they have been riddled with the injury bug. Ian Scott had such a long kind of a battle sort of thing, and Joseph Wool is now out of the crease sort of thing. So they're looking for something in the goaltending column, and now this kind of thing with Nick Robertson. He's one of those players. I really think that he has raw potential. Like there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the NHL today, in my opinion. And that's definitely a tough blow.
Now, I thought I saw somewhere that Joseph Woll might be back by this upcoming weekend. Have you seen anything about that?
Yeah, there's some sort of little rumors that he might be coming back, but there's nothing really official yet. And I guess it's one of those things where you won't really know until game time, really. I think that he'll be back for at least next week kind of thing when they get going again. But you never know. He might be playing against the Monsters.
Well, time will tell. But yeah, I feel so bad about the whole Nick Robertson thing. I got to see him play in Traverse City, and he was, just the way that his two-way game had developed, and he just looked above and beyond everybody else there. And yeah, it's sad to see his season kind of start so bad, but that's not the only team facing an injury crunch right now. The Syracuse Crunch actually lost 3 players in their season opener against Cleveland. Not 1, not 2, 3. All of them in the second period. First, it was Charles Hudon. He was going full stride along the benches. Gavin Bayreuther of Cleveland went to go lay a hit. And the benches, and then before the glass goes down to the end of the rink, that kind of curved part, Hudon got caught up right there. And he went down. Luckily, he was able to get up. But that started the game, or the second period, off with a lengthy delay because, well, they had to replace that glass completely. So that was a nice, not nice way to start that period. And then a few minutes later, it was their goaltender, Max Legacy, who looked like he was just going down for just like a standard stop on an Adam Haluka shot, but somehow managed to injure his right leg. Luckily, he was able to go off under his own power. And then later on in the period, Otto Sampi, he got tangled up again, full stride. Jake Christensen went in to make a block, make a hit. I don't quite know what he was doing, but Sampi went into the boards extremely awkwardly, had to go off on a stretcher. I haven't seen any updates on any of them. Syracuse has been quite quiet about the whole thing. But yeah, those are three big players to go down, let alone at the same time, let alone in the same period.
And I remember seeing Hudon play in St. John's, and I remember, and it's like one of those players that like you see him kind of like growing up a little bit, and you see him kind of develop. And I've watched this guy can speed down the ice, like there's no doubt about it. Especially for the time that he's been in the American Hockey League, it's almost like he knows the league inside out. He knows kind of those first mistakes that you're going to make in the AHL, and he seems to find a way to kind of work around that and find these little pockets. But I guess the glass isn't much of a pocket either.
Yeah, I saw the replay of
it's bad.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the most infamous one in that kind of area was the Chara and Pacioretty situation. That's when they kind of, the whole every level of hockey decided maybe we should kind of round out that little corner, and it certainly helps like with the severe injuries, but it still hurts. It still hurts to get hit into it. So I don't think Bayreuth had any ill intent or anything. He was just finishing up his man. It's just one of those unfortunate areas to get hit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know how much worse that would have been had that not been a curved piece. If that just would have been a hard angle, oof. We're using that word way too much here. Oof. It's like
it comes with the territory.
Right. But can we actually discuss some really good news here real quick? First of all, Milwaukee Admirals captain Cole Schneider, Saturday night, 2 goals, 18 seconds. I mean, who does that? Apparently he does.
Yeah, I was ready to say. Apparently Cole Schneider, right? And exciting for them, especially after having not played hockey for so long, right? It's just to have that kind of a moment has to be fun for the fans to watch.
Now, was that game at home? I didn't think to look.
Yes.
I'm not entirely certain. Was it?
Yeah, it was in Milwaukee. Yep.
Oh, that's a nice story then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, even if they were just, watching from their homes and, it was an away game, but to have fans be in the arena, that's cool. But speaking of goals, not to be outdone, Syracuse crunches Jimmy Huntington. First professional hat trick, a natural one at that. 3 great goals. And of course, 4 goals in just 2 games. He is the AHL Player of the Week. So congratulations, Jimmy. Great job. I was happy to be able to watch that. My poor Cleveland heart, didn't like watching it, but my hockey heart was happy. So great job. And this is actually a story I saw earlier on today. We're going to move over to the wow, do things change fast in the AHL file. Antoine Bibeau now finds himself in the ECHL of all places. Now, last year he was 5-2-2 for the Chicago Wolves. I mean, Andrew, I know you're kind of our resident expert here. Do you have any insight into what happened there?
It's. I don't think it was necessarily that he's not any good. I mean, he was a big story last year for Chicago because he was just coming off major hip surgery, which I think, as we can all tell with goalies, you kind of need your hips. It's kind of a big part. And not only did he come back, he played really well. And it's kind of mystifying because Chicago's 2 biggest presences in net last year were Beck Warm and Antoine Bibeau, and as of tonight, they're both in the East Coast, and it kind of just kind of shows how quickly things change in this league. And I don't think it was necessarily the fault of either of them. I think you have young kids that are coming through the pipeline. For example, for Chicago is Eetu Makaniemi. I probably butchered that pronunciation, so my apologies to everyone in Finland. But with him and Alex Lyon signed along with the Hurricanes, there was just no room left for Beck. And whether he just didn't come ready to battle in camp, it is what it is. And there's certainly value for these guys though, and there are teams all over that know that if they ever get in a pinch, that hey, there's a guy down there in the coast that we can go snatch up for peanuts, who he might not lead us to the Holy Grail, but he can at least be brought in and he can be dependable with his body of work that has been proven season after season. So again, I don't think, Antoine's fallen off a cliff in terms of, talent or anything. I just think that he just got caught up in the queue,
Yeah, it reminds me not so much of the Cam Johnson situation with Cleveland and Columbus, but maybe very abstractly reminds me of that situation. At one point, over the summer, they signed him Columbus signs him to a 2-year deal. Then it's talked about, okay, well, he's going to be in Cleveland. Then he shows up not in physical shape, gets sent all the way down to Kalamazoo. Now he's going back to the Florida Everblades. It was announced earlier on. So it's just how quickly things change. Mm-hmm. But also, who saw this coming? Leo Komarov is now an Islander. No, not that Islanders, Bridgeport Islanders. He cleared waivers, has been assigned. Talk about a infusion of some skill and mainly veteran knowledge and experience.
Did the Sound Tigers have Halak for a couple of games too, a couple of years back?
I wouldn't be surprised.
A little bit of trivia there, I guess. They've had some good talent come through.
Now I have to go look this up.
Oh, no. I think he played like 5 or 6 games with Bridgeport.
But also, I still just every time I hear it, the Islanders, the Bridgeport Islanders, it's something about it just still hurts.
Well, I'll look it up if I can find something that actually includes stats other than just the NHL. 2016, 2017, 27 games played, Yaroslav Halak with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers.
I know, man.
He actually had 1 assist in that game, or in that span.
Making plays. I like it.
Zach's on my trivia team. I'm playing Zach.
Okay, knowledge of the day.
Okay, well then, here, you guys want some trivia? I have a mini quiz for you.
I didn't do great last time, so I don't know that I do.
Okay, but let's just give it a shot. How many shorthanded goals were there in the AHL this past opening weekend?
I know I saw Ryan Suzuki score 1, so I know for sure we're at least at 1.
Mm-hmm. There's more than 1.
4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 as well. Just like thinking like Wendy's 4 for 4. I'm thinking like 4 men on the ice, 4 goals.
4
I'm
squares.
definitely gonna say it's like 7 or more. I think because I seen a couple. I think I've seen a couple on Twitter. So if I've seen a couple on Twitter, then it's definitely 6 or 7 or more.
Zach's the closest with 8.
Oh man.
So there was Hartford, Johnny Brodzinski, Chicago's Ryan Suzuki, Henderson's Ben Jones, Syracuse's Sean Day, Iowa's Connor Duar, Laval's Lucas Videmo, Cleveland's Carson Meyer, and Toronto's Brent, and I can't read my notes, Brett Senni. My writing got very sloppy, so I can't read my own writing. My apologies to the Toronto Marlies fans here, but I must say I'm quite partial to that Carson Meyer goal, even though I did not get a chance to actually see that goal, though I was at the game. That goal came at a minute 14 left in the game. Cleveland had blown a 3-0 lead that they had going into the second period. They were down, pulled the goalie, so of course shorthanded. So I'm down on ice level, kind of putting stuff away, getting ready for media pressers. I put my stuff in the media workroom. I start walking out to that area, and all of a sudden, horn, people screaming.
Bad mistake.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
are you kidding
that?
me? I made a horrible mistake.
You should know better.
I did that in like my second game or something, and I was like so nervous that I had to get down and find that media room again. Like I couldn't, and then they scored. I was like, "Are you serious? You just tied the game?" And I'm like somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the bowels of the stadium. Like,
Yeah, luckily it's not a far walk to a good viewing point from the media workroom in Cleveland. So I just kind of went out there and I got to see overtime and all that. So that's good. But that Carson Meyer goal, if you want something fun to go watch, go look that up. Plus, the American Hockey League has a compilation of all 8 of those if you're interested. But now we're going to move on to my favorite part of the show. Swipe left or swipe right. Basically, this is our hot takes portion of the show where, for those of you who do the online dating thing, you know all about swipe left or swipe right. So if one of us has a good hot take, we're going to swipe right on it. If it's really good and we get one of these a month, a super swipe up. And if we don't like it, we're going to swipe left. And as is our normal tradition here, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Andrew, what is your hot take this week?
All right. So last week we discussed quite a bit in depth about all the talent that Hershey lost and that they wouldn't really make it past the first round of the playoffs. I'm starting to see some red flags in that match. I don't know about you guys because Hershey looked pretty good this opening weekend, most notably I believe it was Saturday night where in the last 2 minutes they killed off a full 6-on-3 to preserve their second win of the weekend. And it was just an all-around effort by all 4 guys on the ice there. And to me, that just showed that I think they were listening in on us and they wanted to prove us wrong. So I'm rethinking that. I'm saying Hershey's winning the Atlantic Division this year.
It's too early. Their profile isn't filled out good enough yet. It's a little bit too bare bones for me to ignore everything else. I got to swipe left. I'm sorry. Come back with a better profile, maybe.
Yeah, I've got to say this one's just pretty much got a picture of them killing off the 6-on-3, but there's no bio yet. We came across this profile a little too early. I'm swiping left on this one. I think there's a lot to happen.
I almost hung my head in shame there for a minute because it was my idea that they wouldn't go anywhere. And I'm going to stick with my guns. And I still think I think that they're going to do pretty good this year, but I don't think it's going to be number 1 in the division.
Well, I do have to say, Andrew, we had a very similar discussion on my Cleveland Monsters podcast, Monster Musings, where we had some criticism and some strong opinions about Justin Scott and his whether or not he should have been given a leadership role and given a higher billing in the lineup. And then he goes and scores 2 goals and 1 assist in 2 games. I mean, for context, he only had 7 points in 18 games last season. So, I mean, maybe that should be our thing. Let's just kind of give a little bit of feedback and, teams will do better. But anyway, hot take. And I know this is controversial. I mean, full disclosure, now that fans are back, the games are so much more exciting. They're so much more fun. But can we please get rid of the woos? That's my question / hot take. The games would be better without the woos.
No, I'm swiping left on that. I love the woos.
I thought I liked you. No.
No, I went to the Red Wings home opener on Thursday and the woos were all over and I was just like, oh, we're back. We're back. Now, I mean, you look in the crowd and most of the people giving off the woos, they probably should have been stopped served about 3 or 4 of them ago. But you know what? I think it just kind of adds to the atmosphere and, anything to get the fans more involved and more engaged, and you start seeing them echoing around the arena, and you hear one, and now there's 30 of them. I love it. I don't know. I guess I'm an outlier, but I love it.
I'm gonna be a little bit rash here. I'm gonna super like this. I am. I'm gonna use my monthly super like, and I say that partially because I know that for some fan bases, like this is a thing, right? Like I recognize that like this is tradition. This has been, years in the making. But where it begins to be, to your point, Deana, a little bit much for me is just in these markets and in these places where like up until like the last like 2 or 3 years, like just no existence of the woo, and all of a sudden, you've got it chirping around the arena, and so I'm gonna super like it. I think also sometimes the timing is bad. Sometimes the timing is not great. So
exactly,
like I'm here for a like well-timed woo. But little tough. I'm with you.
And I think that you're pointing out just a couple of teams in the Southwest, but I think that I'm going to swipe left, and I don't think I'm going to find a Tinder match here so far today because I kind of like it. I kind of like that. Like you look at Carolina or Nashville, even kind of thing, right? It started to grow on me a little bit when I remember when I like first kind of got my head around it, and that was like when Nashville went deep. I was like, I don't know about this. Like this is kind of weird, but you know what? I think it's starting to grow on me a little bit. So I want to keep it.
Now I know, because you were talking about having it be well placed. Now I know in Cleveland, their in-arena announcer, like after Cleveland scores a goal, he will do a soft woo. I'm not going to do it full out, just a soft woo over the PA, and then that'll start, but whenever it just starts happening randomly in the middle of a period when there's no action going on, I don't know. Plus, in Columbus, it only started happening, like in 2019? Really?
Yeah, I mean, recent.
Very recently. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, it became a thing for the Wings when, they're going through a stretch of like 3-18, and, you kind of gotta find a way to keep people engaged when you're getting throttled 6-1 and then you're only halfway through the second period. So maybe that's my impression of the woos, is that, it's like, well, it's something fun to do, so you're not crying into your drink. But I'll get back to you in a couple years when the Red Wings are back to their old form and they're taking the league by storm. It'll take a little while though.
All right, so we talked last week about like all of the innovation and all of the forward thinking of the AHL. Obviously we've seen it with other rule changes in the past, and I think, you look at the league, we'll talk about scoring here in a second. We'll talk about Peyton Krebs and how he's leading the league, but he doesn't have any goals. But we could change that if we got out the pen and paper that we used to write our letter from last week's episode. We can change that by implementing that shootout game-winning goals should be counted as goals in the regular season points total for players who score them. To me, it's a no-brainer. We count penalty shot goals, so I've got to wonder what's the hang-up? And obviously, like a traditionalist is going to disagree and all that kind of stuff, but I'm here to fight with the traditionalists. I'm here to do it. And so that's my hot take of the week. Start counting game-winning shootout goals, because we had a couple of them. We had a few of them. Di Giuseppe, as you talked about earlier, Deana, would have scored a goal, but he did not.
Yeah, I'm that traditionalist. I'm going to swipe a hard left on this one. It's one thing in a penalty shot because that was the result of a hockey play. I'm going to go even further with this. I don't like shootouts. I know this is going to sound like sacrilege to some people. I don't even really like 3-on-3 hockey that much. It doesn't feel like like hockey to me. It's you got three guys, and if they don't like the look, they carry the puck out of the offensive zone into the neutral zone. That's, to me, that's sacrilege. That's the real sacrilege right there. And it doesn't feel right. I get that it's exciting. It's got kind of this street hockey feel to it, but it's just, I'll allow those goals, but I can't put the stats up for shootouts. It doesn't sit right with me because, you know, Pavel Datsyuk would have the records by now. And like, you know, you're implementing this too late. If you're going to do it, should have done it back in 2006, but it's a little too late for it now.
Hey, let's do it retroactively. I'm in.
All right. Now you got me thinking. Still left.
If you looked at the Maple Leafs versus the Rangers there the other night, man, oh man, that overtime was, that was a good one. But I mean, I personally think that they shouldn't count, and I say that because, like, again, I'm a traditionalist as well, and I like to watch a lot of like that kind of classic hockey. And that time before the shootout, I still think that that's like the golden era of hockey. Like, you know, call me boomer or whatever, but like, I think in a couple of years you're not going to see a shootout. I really think that in 10 years you won't have any lick of a shootout. It'll be 3-on-3. So I hope you get used to it because it's going to be around.
Jeremy, I got you. I'm going to swipe right because I personally, it's that Ohio connection. Actually, you're over here. Yeah. I personally love watching the shootout. Now, it's a whole other discussion if, say, like a gold medal game or a playoff series or something should be decided in a shootout. That's a whole different discussion that I have a completely different viewpoint on. But if the player controls the puck and beats the goaltender, it is a goal. It is a goal. It is a goal. Yes, it should count. Not enough for a super swipe, but I'll swipe right.
I appreciate you. Always there for me.
I got you.
Are you suggesting that every goal in the shootout should be considered as a goal?
I'm a game-winning goal. I think Deana might have just dropped a little bit of more of a nugget that we might be able to ponder.
I would be happy to settle with game-winning goal with, you know, yeah. I can settle for that. That's fine.
So you could settle, but you would like to change it. This is blowing my mind.
I need more time
to settle, Deana.
I need more time to think about it.
While we're here, let's just start messing with save percentages and goals allowed. Like, let's just start doing it all. I'm all for it. Let's just throw it in the blender.
Holy GrAHL changing the world. People are either going to love us or hate us.
Or just never travel to Ohio anytime soon.
We won't be missing much.
The new home of the Arizona Coyotes.
Wait, we're going to get 2 NHL teams? Is that what? Wait, no, because we're relegating them down to the A. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, Andrew, I think Jonathan would disagree with you.
Grand Rapids corn fields.
Maybe like, you know how they had those like outdoor games last year and it was in like the middle of nowhere? You know, maybe they could have one of those on like a cornfield this year. You know what I mean?
Field of Dreams, but NHL.
Field of Dreams.
Well, I have plenty of friends back home that have like flat fields of corn. Just call me. Scott Housing, call me. I have the hookup for you.
If you build it,
speaking
Jonathan
of traveling and places that we don't want to go.
Okay, sorry.
Do you guys ever just look at the Central Division and be like, damn, you got a bad schedule? Like, I think that the Central Division might have one of the worst travel schedules, hands down.
Could you imagine that bus ride from Texas, Manitoba. That's gotta be who designed this? I mean, I understand, Winnipeg, they like their farm team literally right in their backyard, and in fact, they're just kind of hanging out, paying the rent too. I'm gonna swipe up on this. This is my super swipe of the month. I mean, I feel those bus rides, especially like riding from Des Moines to Grand Rapids, Des Moines to Manitoba. I'm like, oh my, I can't imagine just hours of prairie and just staring out those windows. And I mean, I rode a train from Chicago to Montana that took 40 hours, and I still look at these bus rides like, oh, save me if I'm on that. So I'm going all in on this one.
I will say, before I decided to swipe on this match, my curiosity got the better of me, and I did a little sleuthing this time. Instead of matching to just, talk to them, I did some sleuthing, and just to make sure that actually, like, okay, Manitoba does play Texas, and yes, Manitoba does play Texas. Oh my gosh, I do not want to be on that bus. Still not quite. I'm picky. I'm not quite ready to use my super swipe up, but it is worth a swipe right for me.
It's hard, right? Because I have to imagine somewhat like I did not do the sleuthing. Just throwing it out there. Like I'm just brazenly swiping through. But I would have to wonder similarly, like how terrible it would be, like when you think about like Stockton and Abbotsford with like San Diego, like going down like all the like it's a lot more scenic. It's like incredibly more scenic. So I'm gonna swipe right on this because yes, like absolutely the worst. But I don't know how much fun the Pacific would be either. I also just the idea of being on a bus for any amount of time that's over 3 hours feels criminal. And so for that reason, like. For that, among other reasons, I would not make it in the AHL. But
no, that was something I was actually thinking about. Like, who actually has the best travel schedule? And like, I thought about like the Pacific, and I feel like in the Central, you might get lucky enough that you can hop on a couple of flights to Manitoba or something, right? But like, I don't think in the Pacific Division, if like Ontario is playing San Diego, like I can't see them hopping on a plane and doing that. Like it's just going to be a long bus ride.
Yeah. And I mean, I would actually probably get like anxious. I hate driving in the snow. So like the North Division would also kind of stress me out, like getting on a bus, like in the midst of a snowstorm, in the midst of a blizzard. Like that doesn't sound bueno to me. So you know what? Actually, I'm retiring from the AHL, folks. I'm hanging up the skates.
I will miss you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Long, storied career.
Bye.
Yeah, let me know when you retire my number.
What was your number, by the way?
What? Anton Bibo is still playing? What?
I tried to do a mean joke, and it kind of fell flat. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, all right. Well, we got what? Two people used their super swipes, and it's only episode 2.
Y'all just wait until episode 4 when it's like on the cusp of October and November, and I try to sneak another super like in to see if y'all are paying attention.
Not happening.
Well, what we need to discuss is if we don't use it, do we get to bank it or no?
No, I don't think so. I think you
No,
have
Tinder
to
gives them away every now and again, right? And like it's like, oh, you got to use it today, and
for free.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes
I'm so glad this is a visual
you get,
podcast.
like random ones sometimes, but yeah, they're not like cell phone minutes. They do not carry over. So you gotta choose wisely. So when you get one, you gotta like make sure you really like it, because then like 8 swipes later, there's someone else, and you're like, oh man.
Oh, I should have. Yeah.
And then especially when the first one doesn't match with you anyway, because your profile is not built in quite enough. So you just not getting Not getting the matches.
Talk about pain.
Yeah. Be grateful you're not in the scene, Deana. I still don't understand it. I sound like I understand it. I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah, you all can tune into our spinoff of the three of us minus Deana.
Dating Woes in 2021, the podcast.
Nah. I'm just waiting for the app for dating for hockey podcasters. I'm still waiting for that. It's the $1 million idea. Someone's got to get on it already.
How not to date with Zack Power.
Well, are you ready for a horrible segue?
Ready's
Oh,
out.
okay.
Talk about players that have been building their profiles. Let's talk about the players at the top of the scoring race.
No, that was real well done. That was really good.
Yeah, that was way better than you sold it out to be.
I thought it was just going to be like,
Oh.
all right, now here's who's scoring a lot.
Okay, we'll erase that. Hey guys, let's talk about who is actually scoring. These guys, Peyton Krebs.
I'll admit that one was better.
Peyton Krebs is currently the top point getter of the American Hockey League in this very, very, very early season with 5 points. Jimmy Huntington is right behind, as we talked about earlier, with 4 points. And there's actually quite a few guys with 4 points. In the top 10, you have guys like Joe Veleno, Johnny Brodzinski, Seth Griffin. A little bit of nice
variety
of players there. Sorry, I was distracted by Jeremy. For those of you
throwing my camera, just absolutely like tossing it across the room.
There's going to be so many moments for the people listening on the Field Pass Hockey app or Spotify or whatever, where they're just going, "What are they laughing about?"
That's why you got to get the visual content. You got to head over to the Field Pass Hockey YouTube, y'all.
Yep.
Worth it. Trust me.
And then looking at the top goal scorers, Jimmy Huntington again leads the top of the list. 4 goals. Some similar names here, like Joe Veleno, number 3 in the league. You have, for those of you following me over here from Monsters Musings, there are 2 monsters in the top 10. You have Justin Scott, who I talked about earlier. And right above him is Carson Meyer. And then, I'm sorry, but number 5, Adam Cracknell, that surprised me.
It's just a name that I forgot about entirely.
He's still hanging around. I love it with tenacity.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. It's like a line from TikTok. It's like, he's still holding on. Who is that? Adam Cracknell. But now I also want to take a quick look at the rookies. Now, whenever I pulled up this information, I was really confused because there were players like Tyler Angle on the list, which he played all of last season. I'm thinking, how in the world are they still rookies? Because they have a season under their belt. But for those of you that like the rules and to know how everything works, so in the American Hockey League, the actual rule is if you have not played in a total of 25 or more AHL and/or NHL regular season games in any preceding seasons, nor in 6 or more AHL and NHL regular season games in any of 2 preceding seasons, or in 100 regular season games in any European elite league, you are still a rookie unless you are on an amateur tryout contract. So that is why players like Tyler Angle are on the top list. He specifically comes in at number 4, but Peyton Krebs leading the league in rookie points.
And to think he could have another point if only shootout game-winning goals counted.
But they don't, so he's going to have to work for him like everyone else.
Oh, no.
Can I give that a super like?
We're not in that segment anymore. Or did you reopen the app while we're not looking?
No. No, I loved what Andrew was talking about. You know, the hard work does pay off, like everybody else. So get in line, son.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good.
Yeah.
I had to. I had to.
No, we appreciate it. Yeah.
I wouldn't open up the app behind your back. Don't you worry.
Okay. I feel like we're delving into some deeply psychological stuff here.
That's what we
Like,
do on the
you're
Holy
doing that
GrAHL.
behind my back. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? I don't know. All right, I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of these names because I will admit I am horrible at that kind of stuff, and I did not have enough time to look at the media guides for all of these teams to get their names right. So I would just suggest, if you want to see who's in the top 20, go check out the AHL.com. Wealth of information. You can see everything for yourself, unless one of my other lovely co-hosts has more insight into this than I do, or more bravery than I do.
I just like taking stabs at Russian names. Danil Miromanov.
That feels right.
That sounds right. Yeah. What are some other good ones here? So, just for context for everyone, he's just got 2 goals and 2 assists in 2 games for Henderson as a defenseman. So, not a big deal. He's just, again, another one of those new age defensemen that loves stepping up into the rush and contributing offensively along with defending the net. We also got a familiar face, not, for better or worse for Chicago Wolves fans, is Lucas Reichel. He scored on a nice breakaway attempt on Alex Lyon in the home opener on Saturday and kind of broke everyone's hearts there. But he's another interesting prospect that's coming up. And let's see, Egor Afanasayev, I want to say. Again, I just like having fun with these. It's the variety in some of these Russian surnames is just it just rolls off the tongue so well. I'm probably butchering them, so all of Eastern Europe is probably coming after me at this point, but it's not going to stop me.
And I'm over here just like, Mike Hardman looks good. Like, they look he's on the list.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. Oh, hey, I saw Sean Elliman over this weekend. Yeah, I could see. He did really good. Oh, Cole Kepi. Yep. It's like
Tyler
only because
Angle.
Tyler Angle. Yeah. No, I mean, gosh, it'll just be interesting to have this screenshot from today and then look at it in, say, like 2 months to see, okay, who just had the hot start and who really is hot on that scoring race. But now we're going to quickly move on to the quest for the Holy Grail division races. Who's moving up? Who's moving down? Right now in the top of each division, we have Hershey leading the Atlantic, Utica on top of the North, Milwaukee so far is ruling the Central, and then Bakersfield in the Pacific. So we can't really talk about who moved up, who moved down, because, well, we only have 1 week's worth of data to look at. So we'll spend a little bit more time on that next week, but let's go ahead and move to our game of the week. This is the portion of the show where we all take a look at the schedule and try to figure out which game we think is going to be the most interesting to watch in each division. And then we will let you, our lovely listeners and viewers, know. That way you can go ahead and plan your hockey watching schedule for the coming week. So let's start off with the Atlantic.
All right. I got my first game on Friday night. It's Hershey at Charlotte. And anyone who was paying attention last week, yes, I picked this last week too. But I think Hershey's is off to a strong start early on here, proving all those doubters wrong. I want to see if they can keep it up, if they can hold up their strong defensive play to start off. I wouldn't advise them going on too many more 6-on-3s, but hey, if you can kill them off, then keep it up. And for Charlotte, they're going to be looking for a little revenge, and they got Friday night and Saturday night to take care of business against Hershey, but you always want to start off on the right foot. So I'm really interested to see how that goes.
Well, I believe I had a Battle of Pennsylvania last week, and I have a Battle of Pennsylvania again this week for the Atlantic. This week it's going to be Wilkes-Barre Scranton at Lehigh Valley on Sunday, the 24th at 3:05. I'll be specific. Anyway, it's going to be Lehigh Valley's opening weekend. So, of course, you have that emotion playing into it. Neither team are off to that good of a start. So if you're going to right the ship, now's the time to do it. Let's see who can get it done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down the same road as Andrew. I think obviously this being the first weekend in a long time that hockey's been in Charlotte, it's the return to the Bojangles Coliseum, which is just probably my favorite name of an arena. Like, it's just like so good. Like, Bojangles is a great corporate sponsor, but then Coliseum, come on. Also, still just how strange is it that they start at home, still the defending Calder Cup? I almost said Stanley Cup. Someone kicked me off the podcast. Someone take me off now. The defending Calder Cup champion. I mean, oh my gosh, like it just feels like it'll never leave their hands, and maybe it won't. Maybe this is a sign that they're going to repeat. It's not. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
And I'm looking at Bridgeport and Springfield, and I kind of actually forgot that Komarov was heading down to Bridgeport to play with the Islanders. So, hey, maybe that's something to look forward to, and Uncle Leo might spark some magic once again. But, I mean, sometimes I just feel bad for Bridgeport, and I feel like sometimes they just can't catch a break. But on the other side of it, Springfield has been playing a really good game. They've won their past couple of games, and I think that they're tied for the top of their division right now. So that's going to be something I'm looking at is Uncle Leo, and they go against a hot team right now.
All right, moving on to the North.
Yeah, for the North, I got my Saturday night game. It's Utica at Syracuse, and first off, I was really impressed with the Comets, and most of all, Alexander Holtz. He just came in and scored 2 goals in his North American debut. Not a big deal. He's already making an impression, and is just a fun player to watch and must-see hockey. And for Syracuse, there's just no rest for this crunch team. They kind of got banged up there against Cleveland, and they've been giving up bunches of goals and are having a really good offensive team coming into town to probably put up bunches of goals. So if you want to see action, this is the one I got pegged for you.
Well, I'm going to go Friday night matchup, Cleveland at Belleville. Actually, this is the opening of a 3-3 for the Monsters, and this is going to be an opportunity for these players to make a statement. Daniil Tarasov had a real difficult game on opening night against Syracuse. I don't know if it's just the lack of a preseason. I talked about it multiple times in my other podcast, but Cleveland does not play preseason games. Daniil Tarasov was kind of a late addition due to him needing to kind of sit out on the sidelines due to a late COVID vaccination. So I don't know if it was rust or what, but those rebounds were not good. So this is an opportunity for him to come back and reclaim that number 1 spot. Although the big newsmaker from this game is, if I did my research right, I believe that this is actually the first time a non-Canadian AHL team is going to be playing in Canada since the league shut down back in March of 2019 or 2020. I had the wrong year.
Yep, that's
2020.
That's right.
Gosh, it feels like 2019 though, right?
Right.
But if you want a ton of goal scoring, it's gonna have to be the Syracuse Rochester game on Friday. It's opening night at Blue Cross Arena there in the Rock, and this Americans team's got to figure out the goals that they've got to figure out their defense, right? Like, this is a team that last season allowed 4 goals a game. So definitely, a lot of folks in the offseason, myself included, were impressed with the moves they made to shore up the blue line, to add some experience, to add a veteran presence. You didn't get much of that in the game against Utica last weekend, and I think Sure, the Crunch are going to be dealing with a few injuries, but Syracuse lit the lamp against Cleveland over last weekend, and I think if you're the Americans, you have to be a little bit anxious coming into this one. You want to have a better defensive showing, and I think if you're Syracuse, you recognize you smell blood in the water defensively, and I think you want to take advantage of it. So that one's going to be a high-scoring affair, and I look forward to it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Americans are playing the Marlies then the next day too, aren't they? In Toronto, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a busy travel weekend. And speaking of Toronto, I think that my game that's going to be on my PVR is going to be Toronto versus Cleveland on that back end of the 3-3, because I think that Toronto did struggle in their last set against the Manitoba Moose. Josh Hosang really did lift the Marlies up past the Manitoba Moose in that first game. They got blanked in the second one. So I think that Cleveland is definitely going to be tired. The Marlies will be playing the Americans the day before, but I do think that could be, in fact, the day that Joseph Wool returns to the ice. So it should be good.
All right, now taking a quick jaunt over to the Central Division.
All right. I got to start it off here with Manitoba at Laval on Wednesday, and part of it is that it's the only Wednesday game on the schedule, so throughout the whole league, all eyes are going to be on this game. Couple of former division rivals that played in the Canadian division last year, and there's some spirited games and some really great hockey between the two of them. Both teams, Manitoba and Laval, they split their opening series, so they kind of need to get a leg up early on the season with the midweek game here. So I think that'll be for sure must see.
Well, I'm going to go Chicago Wolves at Milwaukee Admirals once again on Friday at 7 o'clock. Now, this is actually the front end of a back-to-back home and home for the teams. But what I'm really watching for here is there's actually a group of players on that Milwaukee squad that played with the Wolves last season. Now, some of them were only, 1 or 2 games. Others were there for 20 plus. You got 2 left wingers, Patrick Harper and Cole Smith. Right winger is Zach Solo, defenseman Mark Delgaizo, and goaltender Devin Cooley. So nice return to face off against their former teammates. So that's always an extra incentive for a team to win, for their new teammates. So I always enjoy those matches.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Rockford and Iowa, the series this weekend. I thought Lucas Reichel looked decent this weekend. You had Marco Rossi score his first goal first professional goal in North America. And so you've got 2 pretty notable prospects in this series this weekend. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch those 2 go together. Those are 2 names that you're probably going to hear, going up against each other quite a bit in the NHL over the course of the next 5-10 years. And so it'll be fun to watch it happen here in the AHL.
And how about Texas and Tucson on Saturday? I mean, the divisions, the solar system has kind of collided once again. And I think that Texas does have a really good team. And I do think that they could be the dark horse to go into the playoffs this year. And I don't know how far they'll get, but they could be the dark horse. And in order to do that, it's got to start somewhere. And you got to know how the other teams in the AHL play. So this is a good way to start.
And to round out our picks, we have the Pacific.
Yeah, I got Henderson and Abbotsford on Sunday. It's the first home series for the new Abbotsford Canucks, so I want to see how the fans come out and support the boys. And of course, on the other side, you got Peyton Krebs already leading the scoring race early. I don't know how much longer we're going to see him in Henderson. Obviously, if he keeps this up, I mean, he's a really talented player. The only thing that might keep him down is that Vegas is really good and they don't really need him to come in and produce immediately. So they can allow him to develop a little more heavily in Henderson. And this would be one of those series to really kind of use as a measuring stick for where he's at. And I think this could be a fun one. It's the second game. I'm trying to keep my games spaced out here instead of picking all Saturday games. So I think Henderson might just shell Abbotsford on Friday, but when you turn it right around on Sunday, I think that could create for a bit of a more fun atmosphere. guys trying to really prove a point and say, okay, that one was kind of a fluke here. We're gonna come out twice as hard and punch you right in the mouth in the second one. So I got that one circled in my calendar.
Well, I mean, it has to be Henderson and Abbotsford. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. I can't really say too much more than what Andrew has already said. I'm just excited to see how the city, the province embraces this team, and just excited to see what they can get going there in their home arena.
Maybe Zach can save us, like, in terms of like the originality of these picks, because it's hard to disagree with you two. I think all of the same things that you all think. The only thing about Peyton Krebs I'll add is like maybe with the injuries in Vegas, like maybe he does get called up sooner than later. But at the same time, that power plays looked really good for Henderson, especially in the last game. I think they were 3 of 6, 3 of 5, or what have you. I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders, and also Sven Berchi plays in Henderson. And I don't know like what it is about that just like surprises me. But something about that just does. And hot take, he's pretty decent at hockey. So that should be a fun one to watch.
And Berchi was a member of the Vancouver Canucks for the longest while in the Utica Comets, wasn't he too?
Yeah. So it got a little bit of that crossplay there. So that'll be fun.
And I know that you guys all have your picks and your sights set on something on the west side of Canada, but I can tell you on the east side of Canada, there's a whole nation of people who are going to be watching San Jose and Colorado. And I say that because Alex Newhook is going to make his AHL season, his start in Colorado. And so what you're seeing in Newfoundland, at least, is they haven't really had a player who's been able to be in the NHL for any amount of time. So Dawson Mercer scored his first NHL goal against the Seattle Kraken. And so I think that myself and everybody else is going to be getting an AHL subscription for Colorado to be able to watch them on Friday night. And that's for sure.
That's actually a really cool story. I don't know how else to round that out. That was just neat.
It's so weird because my Twitter is blown up with Dawson Mercer. He got a point. Oh, he got an assist. This is the best thing ever. And now he scored. And Twitter is just it's amazing.
I love it. It reminds me anytime that I'm covering Cleveland and Brett Gallant does anything, and I get to clip video of it and tweet it out. It seems like the entire island of PEI just comes out and just starts retweeting and sharing and talking about it. And I love it. It's just, I'd love to see hometowns, home states, provinces just rally around their guys. But so Andrew had brought up something in the group chat, and I think we have enough time for a quick little segment of, oh, they grow up so fast.
Yeah, so this whole segment is kind of, as the title implies, what a proud parent looks as their kids are growing up. And for me, I have a bit of a personal take in this, obviously, with the connection to Chicago. But tonight, Tommy Novak makes his NHL debut for the Nashville Predators. This was a guy who, even though he was part of the Nashville organization, because of the dual affiliation last year, wound up playing for the Wolves, and all he did was tie in the team lead in scoring all year, and was the kind of the man on the power play. And again, the guy just it's like getting on a bike for him. He starts out the season this year in the home opener against Grand Rapids and just throws up 3 assists like it's no big deal. So Nashville's finally got the hint, all right, we can't really keep this guy down. And, it was just, watch him grow up right in front of our eyes. And now here he is. And Tommy Novak, congratulations. You totally earned this. And I hope you go out and have just the game of your life against Los Angeles tonight.
Well, we also talked about an American Hockey League player that played one game. It was literally a, hello, my name is Yegor Chinica. score a goal, and then immediately head straight back down south to 71, where he is, as the time we were recording this, playing in Detroit against the Red Wings for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was one of the quickest grow-ups I've ever seen. So
it's a growth spurt.
it was, I don't know what it was. I was trying to think of some sort of analogy, and I couldn't think of anything. He goes from infant to full-fledged adult in 24 hours. Like, okay. But now we are here for the final segment of our show, and that is the Holy Grail bonus round. Now, actually, for our bonus round, Andrew was our winner last week. Good job, Andrew, in the Pick a Vow I or A segment. So that means he gets to run the bonus round this week. So, Andrew, take it away.
All right. Kind of as a segue with Tommy Novak and with Milwaukee going on and having a very successful home opener, dropping 7 goals on a division rival, I was really interested in going back and looking at Tommy and the other players. So I kind of want to do a little bit of Price is Right with everyone here and take a look at the Chicago Wolves roster of 2021, the shortened 2021 season. Saw 45 skaters and goalies suit up for the Chicago Wolves. How many of them were Nashville products that were only there for one season?
You said there were how many?
Going over.
You said there were how many?
How many out of 45 that played at least one game?
I'll take $1, Bob.
All right, we got Zach going with 1.
There's always somebody.
Yeah.
I'll take 20.
20? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do that thing that I hate about watching The Price is Right, and that's when somebody
You're
guesses
not.
like 400, and then they
You're
bet
not.
401. So I'm gonna say, you know what? I'll give you 1. I'll say 22. So that way, if it's 21 or 20, I'll send you love. And if it is, I'm leaving. If it's 21, I'm out. But
all right. Well, all right. The guesses are in, and I'll just say, Deana, you were so close.
Oh.
It was 19.
No!
19 Predators products suited up for the Wolves last year. That includes your leading scorers, Phil Tomasino and Tommy Novak. That's Tanner Jeannot, Anthony Richard, Frederick Allard. That's 5. Sean Malone, Rem Pitlick, Cole Smith, Jeremy Davies, Josh Healy, Zach Solo, Mark Delgaizo, Luke Evangelista, Lucas Craggs, Patrick Harper, Alexander Carrier, Tyler Lewington, and then your 2 goalies, Devin Cooley and Connor Ingram, for a total of 19. Zach, you're the winner.
I just want to confirm that Zach had the first guess and he $1'd us.
and he
got it. We were in full control of that, Deana. We had so much power.
You guys were arguing like, oh yeah, no, this is no, don't go $1 more. No.
Now, for full disclosure, for those of you listening and not watching, go back, find us on YouTube, because yeah, Zach totally dabbed in victory.
In
I didn't know that was still a thing. In 2021, Zack Power is dabbing.
What do you mean?
All I can say is Jeremy, you should have taken your strategy but done the opposite.
I guess I should have, right?
That's
like
a pretty
that's
bold strategy.
It's tough. Yeah, could you imagine?
you should have just gone with 2, just the trump card Zach's.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I picked the wrong person to do it.
I thought you were gonna say 2 because you're like, oh, I don't want to be the person who does this. I was like, that's $2.
Happy to.
That was a good bonus round. I
Right.
enjoyed that. So, Zach, get ready. You get to host that next week.
All right.
I do
I am-
not want to know what that brain's going to come up with.
Oh,
I'm so
I don't either.
excited.
I
I'm
don't
so
either.
excited.
I say it in the most loving and respectful and amazed, in total amazement. Just the way your brain works sometimes. It's just I'm blown away. But
Name
all
how
right,
many
guys.
games Yaroslav Halak played for Bridgeport.
27.
I was going to say, guess what? I actually remember that. I am horrible at numbers. And I remember that. 27 with 17 wins. Woohoo. Okay. Anyway, that's going to be it for the Holy Grail for this week. So if you like us, please subscribe, like, share, rate this podcast, and tell all of your friends. But if you really like us, be sure to give us all a follow on Twitter. We'll go around the screen one last time. You can find me at FPH Monsters.
You can find me at FPH Wolves or FPH Griffins. It's a little 2-for-1 there.
And I'll be at FPH Marlies for the season.
I'll be at FPH Americans.
Awesome. And also be sure to check out all of Field Pass Hockey's other podcasts we have inside the SPHL with James Hayes. We have 2 AHL team-based podcasts, which is Syracuse Speaks, which of course is all about the Syracuse Crunch with Alexander Ackerman. I've talked about this podcast multiple times already, but Monsters Musings with Andrew Guarino, Jay Forster, and me, and the 3 Periods podcast, all about the ECHL with Matt Harding and Matthew Will. But until next week, thanks again for listening. We're so happy you're here, and we will catch you next week.
This has been the Holy Grail Podcast. Have a question or a topic suggestion? Hit us up on Twitter or drop us an email. For the latest news across the American Hockey League and the rest of minor league hockey, download the Field Pass Hockey app, now available in the Apple and Android app stores.